Hi, I'm Alan Smith. You know, sometimes two things that may seem completely different at first glance can actually go hand in hand, like chickens and gardening. You know, we've been keeping chickens as a part of our lives for thousands of years, literally since ancient times, when we discovered the benefits of keeping chickens as domestic animals. But you know, things really haven't changed much since then. In the modern garden, chickens can be equally useful and a lot of fun, particularly if you go about raising them with a sense of humor. When I was a kid on the farm, I had a wide range of poultry: chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, the whole gamut. And only now have I rekindled my interest. That's why today I'm taking you along with me to a regional poultry show where you'll get a behind-the-scenes view of this long-standing pastime. Of course, I'll be entering my own chickens into the competition as well. You don't have to have a lot of land or a farm to have chickens. Coming up, I'll tell you how I built a simple coop to accommodate these little guys. And it really doesn't take much room at all. I'll also introduce you to some of the different varieties of poultry, and we'll meet some of the people who raise them. Plus, take a look at this. It's a chicken coop on wheels. Find out how this is a great way to have chickens in just about any space. But right now, I've got to get my entries ready for the big show, so come along with me. After all, it isn't every day you get to go to a poultry show. When I decided to raise chickens again, I really had to think about the space limitations, which is something I always have to consider in my garden. As a youngster on the farm, I used to raise these standard barred Plymouth Rocks, but they require more space than this pint-sized version. Just look at the difference in size between this standard rooster and my little Bantam rooster, Elroy. I used a simple design for my chicken coop. You see, the chickens roost and nest inside the back of my tool shed, which protects them from the elements. There's also a chicken run along the fence, and as you can see, I've screened the top with wire fencing to protect them from predators. Now, they can get their exercise in this run or go out in the garden. They add so much life and really don't require a lot of space. Well, we're on our way. Next stop, Arkansas-Oklahoma Poultry Show. Blue ribbons, here we come. Well, we've made it. Elroy and the Pullets and I are here at the Arkansas-Oklahoma Poultry Show. And as you can hear and see, there are a lot of contestants. In fact, there are over 1,100 entries in this show. The judges have already started over in the other barn, so it's time for me to get Elroy in his designated place here among the entries. But before I do that, I'm going to kind of dress up his comb just a little bit. It's a little wind chap. So I'm just going to take a cloth with a vegetable oil base on it and just rub it across his comb like this. It'll really bring the color to life. I think he's loving this. I'm going to put some oil on his legs. This really brings out the yellow coloration, which is, by the way, a characteristic of this breed, the Plymouth Rock. There are all different colors of Plymouth Rocks. There are white Plymouth Rocks, partridge Plymouth Rocks, Colombian Plymouth Rocks, and of course, barred Plymouth Rocks. This all indicates the plumage color pattern. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little shine on the feather. I hold him just like this. I use some of this finish sheen. Shut your eyes, Elroy. This bird has to be perfectly coiffed. This will knock any dust off. Look at that. A first prize winner. You know, there are a lot of different reasons why people show poultry. Let's just take a look at a few.
When I go out at the end of the day and take care of my chickens, or at the beginning, it just relaxes me, and I let them out on my yard, and I like to watch them. It's just, some people get fish aquariums for much the same reason that some people get chickens. It's a stress relief, and the competition is fun.
It's just enjoyment of being competitive with your friends and neighbors.
It's really a good hobby. And my husband has had some health problems, and I think this is very good for him because it keeps him active.
If you had told me even 10 years ago that I would have chickens, I would have thought you had fallen out of a tree on your head. But
it's just a lot of fun.
You know, many parents have discovered that giving a child something living to care for and to raise is a wonderful way to teach them responsibility and stewardship. Here's a family who's done just that. This is Richard and Susan Wright and their son Sawyer. And the guy going into the cage is Ernest. So what brought this family into the world of poultry?
Well, it started as Easter chicks. We had 2, and they were small enough for our son, who's 3, to be a part of watching them and feeding them. And it just kind of evolved from that to Ernest growing up big.
So the little chicks grew up.
Grew up, and they had children. Those children are having children, and so it's really a unique, wonderful experience for children to have hands-on, and our family, our entire family, to be a part of it.
We live in the city. We have less than an acre. We live on a corner lot, so there's hardly any space at all required for the chickens. We started showing him at the county fair. We thought we'd just give it a try. He did really well. In fact, he won Best of Show at the county fair. First time out, so we're real happy about him.
It was a great learning experience in the sense that we were exposed to lots of other breeds, that there's just more to, a chicken than just, the one you pick up at the grocery store,
Right.
and that we were shocked that Ernest grew up to be this huge rooster.
Do you see this as a hobby that your son may continue to be involved with or interested in?
Oh, I absolutely believe so. And, we're already planning and, from what we've learned this year, adding to it and developing or trying to raise even a better, rooster or a hen and, entering next year.
So you'll be back?
We'll be back.
If you thought chickens were only for the farm, have I got a place for you to see. It's a California seaside residence, and it's the home of a couple of Easter egg chickens. I'll show you what I mean. In the meantime, you can see the judges are hard at work looking at all of this steep competition. We'll see what they come up with next. This is Carmel, California, truly a place of incredible beauty and one of my favorite areas to visit. So what does it have to do with chickens? Well, to find out, we visited the home of Lacey Buck, her beautifully manicured garden, bountiful vegetable garden, and Thelma and Louise. These girls aren't all about glamour, though. They're also extremely hard workers in the garden.
These are Aracanas.
Yes.
And I guess you know all about Aracanas.
Well, I had them growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
The Easter egg chickens, they call
They're
them.
beautiful, and they lay beautiful turquoise eggs.
Don't they?
So this is Thelma. She's the dark one. And then we've got Louise over here, a little blonde. And these girls produce eggs for us about 2 a day.
Do you find that a lot of your friends scratch their head when you tell them that you live in this house, you have this garden, and you raise chickens?
Yeah, they think I'm kind of nuts, I think. And that's fine. They haven't been in the garden for a couple of days, so they need to do some bug work for me.
There you go.
Come on, Louise. As we clean out this chicken coop, all of the used straw goes right into the compost heap.
Sure, and then all their litter, of course, activates the compost.
That's a great fertilizer. I think you can go buy chicken fertilizer, and I don't have to do that. Go, do your thing.
Yeah, there she goes.
Go for those bugs.
Well, I like the chicken coop that you've prepared for Thelma and Louise. It's very decorative.
Well, and it's handily adjacent to the vegetable garden, which they patrol for me. Of course, during the time that we're planting, they are not allowed in here. They'll eat everything in sight. All the new sprouts as they come up will be gone.
Sure.
But look at her right now. She's looking for snails. My grandchildren come over here and the first thing they'll ask for, I want to go see the chickens. And they come out, I let them feed them, they let them out, chase them around the yard, pick them up, carry them around, it's kind of sweet.
As you can see, having a couple of feathered friends in your garden like Thelma and Louise can add a special touch of color. But if you decide to get into poultry raising on the next level, say exhibit them like I'm doing, you may want to know what you're up for. So to get a better idea of what's involved, I talked to a man who's been judging chickens for over 60 years. Well, tell me a little bit about the standard by which standard poultry is judged.
Well, there are two standards, really. There's a standard that started put out in 1884 by the American Poultry Association. Then there's another standard put out by the American Bantam Association. And really, they are the same. This is a little white wyandotte pullet. So
well, you handle her like you know what you're doing.
Okay, and you get her out of the coop and you want to judge her. You look at, she's a little mad. See her? You look at her head, the shape of her head, and her eyes, and the back, and you look here and you want to check over her wing feathers to see just what they are. This is a very nice little bird. This is a bird which we call a bird of curves. And you can see the curves
look at
back,
that.
and the curves in her body.
So and you're looking for a classic shape in this particular breed, the Wyandotte.
The Wyandotte has a shape. Now here is a white Cornish.
Look at that.
Now I want you to look at the wide skull. This is a bird that is made up of, when she sets up, her wings look like they're pasted on, right here. She is short body, she's deep, she's wide. Now this is a little black rose coat.
That beautiful black green as well?
Yeah.
Look at the white earlobe.
Okay, the large earlobe should be about the shape of a $50, a pointed comb in the back, short wattles. And now this bird, being such a fancy bird, about 37% of his value is here in the head because it's so hard to breed this size.
I see.
And then he's a small bird and has a real wide feather.
Magnificent tail feathers.
Yeah. And he, very wide feathers on it. This is a very, very good example of this little bird too.
As the judges work through the rest of the exhibits, this is the point in the show I always get a little nervous. You never know what the outcome is going to be. But I always have to remind myself that it's really about having fun. You meet great people at shows like this, and of course you get to see all the different varieties of chickens. The amazing thing about poultry in general, and particularly chickens, is that there's such a range of personality. The personalities are as varied as the breeds themselves. For instance, many of the Mediterranean breeds are light. They don't have feathers on their legs, and they're also a little nervous and jumpy. Then you have Asiatic breeds where many of them are feather-legged, very fluffy, and very docile personalities. Let me show you one that has a wonderful disposition. These are called Cochins, and this is a black Cochin pullet. Look how fluffy she is. Their gentle, docile disposition makes them ideal for having around children. They can make the perfect pet. Next, we'll take a look at another member of the poultry family that could make any child's Easter dream come true and be a big help in the garden. And then we'll see just how well I've done with my barred Plymouth Rocks. Well, it looks like the judges have made their decisions about the junior class. And while they continue to finish up with the open class, I thought it might be fun to have a look at some of the waterfowl entries. These are bantam ducks, which can be a wonderful addition to any garden. Now let's take a trip to California, to a hatchery that's dedicated to preserving a wide variety of domestic waterfowl. It's a busy time here at Metzer Farms in Gonzales, California. They're dispatching thousands of ducklings across the country, so the slugs and snails better watch out. Ducks can be one of the best ways to deal with slugs and snails in the garden, and a lot of fun to have around. This little guy is only a couple of hours old, but since he has plenty of egg yolk still stored in his system, he won't need to eat for a couple of days so he can be shipped anywhere in the world. In just a matter of weeks, these day-old ducklings will double and triple in size. Seemingly overnight, they'll turn into slug-eating machines. They love the flavor of them, and a few ducks can eat hundreds of them in a day. Now, if you think domesticated ducks only come in one model, like the standard pekin duck from nursery rhymes, you better look again. These solid black ones with a green sheen are called cayugas, and the Rouen are a French breed that look like a big fat mallard. And if you love the duck in the movie Babe as much as I did, you won't be able to resist these slender Indian runner ducks. If you're looking for a duck that's already dressed for Easter, you might try one of these white crested ducks. It's already wearing its Easter bonnet. Having a few ducks around can be entertaining and a lot of fun for children. But the best reason for me as a gardener is that it makes slugs and snails a part of the food chain. If you'd like to learn more about the care of waterfowl and keeping them in your garden, just check out my website for all the information. That's pallensmith.com. As you can see, having ducks around can be a lot of fun, and they can be in charge of your pest management. But what if I told you there's a way you could have fresh eggs, a way to keep your lawn mowed and your garden fertilized, as well as having something to wake you up in the morning? Well, here's an ingenious and simple way to keep chickens in your garden. It can all be done with a simple device called the chicken tractor. Philip Bullard, a volunteer at a local community garden, explains how it works.
Kids are naturals at gardening, and one of the reasons they are really drawn to it is because of the diversity of things that you can do. They particularly enjoy the livestock at the garden. It's one of the reasons we keep chickens, is because of the youth gardening component that we have here. But the chickens fit into our garden in other ways as well. They give us manure, they eat bugs and grass, and they lay eggs.
So this device that you call a chicken tractor can be moved, it's mobile.
Yes, that keeps the manure that the chickens are depositing from building up and becoming unhealthy for them. It also lets us move them over ground that either needs to be fertilized, so they deposit and scratch the manure in for us, and also they constantly have fresh ground to get new bugs and get the weeds out.
Well, they seem really happy.
I like to think that they are.
Look at them.
Yeah.
Hey, girls. This stylish model of the chicken tractor might turn some heads in your neighborhood, but what an environmentally sound way to care for your garden. And you can count on fresh eggs like these all year long. Well, here we are where my barred rocks are placed. I want to see what you think.
All right, let's take a look at him. He's a little bit wild, sort of hard to get out.
Yeah.
Haven't you been taking good care of him?
Well, I've been trying to.
Okay.
What do you think, Gene?
Well, a barred rock bantam. My gosh, he's got a nice little head. He's about the right color. And one thing I love about him is he looks the same color everywhere. You follow what I'm saying?
Same tonal
color.
Feel,
whether
right.
you look here, here, or here. Now the bars are black and white. I have to criticize this bird a little bit because
Go ahead.
he's not perfectly straight, these bars. You see a little white
There's
and
a little,
black
right, sure.
going into each other?
Yes.
And so that's a very good wing. A wing's hard to get. You know something? Your cocker won second prize.
Did it really?
Wow.
My goodness.
No.
Second. I never would have thought.
There's only one other one that beat you, and he's just a little bit shorter barred, but he's about
Well, I'll be.
better than color. How
Good
about
job,
that?
old boy.
Yeah.
This is Elroy.
Elroy.
Yeah. Boy, did I come home to a surprise. Just look at these latest additions to the garden. Now, don't you know Elroy's proud coming home a winner and to 8 newly hatched barred Plymouth Rock chicks. Just look at these little guys. And hey, maybe I even have a first place winner for next year's show. Hey, Elroy. You know, there's something great about going to a poultry show beyond the prizes you might win. It's the great people you can meet. You know, chickens are a big part of my garden now, and I'm glad of it. Now I can't imagine my garden without them. Not only do they provide a source of organic pest control, but there's fertilizer for the garden, as well as eggs for the kitchen, not to mention the great fun you can have with just having them around. If you have limited space but would like to raise some poultry, I have some ideas on my website that just may help. That's pallensmith.com. From the garden, I'm Alan Smith.
In this garden I dream of a bed of flowers. Bluebirds sing of the beauty all around us. And every time the sun comes out, I can't help but smile. Oh, no, I can't help but smile.